Okay, here's your feedback on 14. Initially, like I said, you can ignore the domain. They listed it there. It's not going to affect your answer. But initially, we have a quotient, u over v. So we're going to write this as the difference of two logs. So natural log of u minus the natural log of v. Now what you need to realize, though, is we can keep going. We still have a product. We still have a u times a v here. All right? So I can split that up. Now be careful of the sign here on this one. All right, so if I'm going to rewrite that as a sum, I've got the natural log of 4 plus the natural log of x cubed. But here's the trick. In algebra, whenever we're subtracting multiple things, I need to kind of put that in parentheses and subtract both of these. Okay, so that minus will be applied to the natural log of 4, and it will be applied to the natural log of x cubed. Okay, notice what I did there in the last step, though. I also used the power rule, took that 3, wrote it as a coefficient. So there's our final answer. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next set of problems. Now we're asked to condense these. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to have a problem. Just look at 13 as an example. If you have this, to condense it, we want to backtrack and put it back in this form. Okay, once again, just a way to practice these properties and get them down. All right, so notice a lot of times if you have a coefficient, your first step would be to write them as powers. All right, we'll get there. Okay, first one's real basic and simple. We have a sum of two logs. So now we're kind of looking at these properties from right to left. If I have a sum, we got to realize that I can write it as a product and condense it to one logarithm. All right, so I've got the natural log of x times y. That's it. That one's that simple. Okay, let me show you 17 and then have you try 16 and 18. Now, if you have multiple logs, more than 2, like 3 or 4, my advice is you work these left to right, unless we see parentheses. 18, we see parentheses. We should always start where we see the parentheses. But if we don't have parentheses, we're just going to work this left to right. Okay, so I'm going to try to combine these two. I'll worry about that one later. All right, but as I mentioned in 13, if we're going to backtrack, we want to get rid of these coefficients and write them as exponents first. So go ahead and write that down. Log of x minus log of y to the 4th. And then this 5 is going to become z to the 5th. Okay, now I'm going to work this left to right. I'm going to take this, this difference of two logs, and I can write it as a quotient. Okay, right? Difference to quotient. Okay, so when I do that, it becomes log of x over y to the 4th. Okay. All right, pause if I'm going too fast, but I'm going to continue. Now I'm down to 2 logs, and I have a sum. So I can write this as a product of u times v. All right, so to multiply these, I put z to the 5th over 1 just to help you get things lined up when you multiply fractions. That's helpful, right? Numerator times numerator. So we've got x z to the 5th, and on the bottom, y to the 4th times 1. And now here we have it. That's a single logarithm. Okay, that's the answer. Okay, why don't you pause, try 16 and 18, and then I will give you some feedback on that. All right, here's 16. I've got a coefficient of 2, so let's write that as y squared. Now I'm going to go from 2 logarithms to 1 by doing u over v. And there's really nothing else we can do. Okay. 18. Now I have parentheses, so we're going to start with these 2 logarithms that are in parentheses. So that 2 can be written as c squared. Okay, I kind of did that right now, so I'm not going to rewrite it just to do that. And so now I can take this sum and write it as a product, u times v. So I've got bc squared now. Okay. All right, now we'll bring in the natural log of a into the problem. So now I've got a difference, so it's u over v. And that's it. That's the final answer. Okay, that concludes section 3.3, just a one-day section. Practice these properties, and good luck.